Hey team, today we're going to talk about leadership with Colonel Matt Bresko. Matt enlisted in the Army in 1989 as an 11 Bravo. In 1998, he went to officer candidate school and earned his commission, became a lieutenant. Now he's a logistics officer. He's got 5 deployments. He did 1 deployment. He jumped into Panama with the Ranger Regiment when he was prior enlisted, and he's got 3 deployments to Iraq and one deployment to Afghanistan. He commanded a battalion at Fort Bragg. He spent a lot of time at Fort Bragg, 407th Brigade Support Battalion, and Matt is married. He's been married for 27 years. His wife is Kelly, and he's got 3 daughters, 1 in college, 1 in high school, and 1 in junior high school. So great Army family there. So Matt, you worked for a lot of people when you were enlisted. You've worked for a lot as an officer. What are some of the best leadership traits that you took from people you worked for and carried forward in your career?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I have had the opportunity, as you said, to work for some absolutely phenomenal leaders. I have been truly fortunate in my military career. But the one leader trait that stands out above the rest for those leaders that I hold most dear and try to emulate the most is how they deal with people. We are in a people business, and being able to show empathy, show humility, and inspire those around us to do great things without losing our composure, without losing our temper when things get difficult, is that trait that I work the most to try to emulate, because it's the one that resonates the most with me.
You said it. We're in a people business. That's what we do. That's what we're about. Matt, you had to make a big transition. You were a non-commissioned officer. You had to become a lieutenant. You had to become an officer. What was that transition like?
Yeah, so early on, it was a little bit of a challenge for me. I had spent, as you had said, 10 years enlisted, most of that as a non-commissioned officer. So I grew up in the Army in good units where non-commissioned officers solved problems.
Right.
We fixed them on the spot. If we saw an issue, we addressed it, and we moved on. So that carried over into my early years as a commissioned officer, and I found myself being pulled aside quite frequently by non-commissioned officers, gently informing me that maybe I was stepping on their toes and getting in their way a little bit in the day-to-day business. So that was a little bit of a transition. But after they pull you aside a time or two, you quickly start to figure it out. But that would be the one that would stand out most to me.
When it comes to your expectation for junior, all the junior leaders that work for you, you had a lot of branches that worked for you. What would that be? What was your number one expectation of junior leaders?
First off, I expect you to do your very best every single day. Every day you come to work, be professional and do your best. Second is to learn as much as you can about as much as you can. And that was really focused on my new lieutenants. Don't sit back and wait for the information or the learning to come to you. Go out there and seek it, understand it. For logistics officers, we have technical responsibilities and things that we have to learn, but we also have the leadership aspect. And third and last, but most important, is again, take care of the people placed in your charge and take care of your teammates to your left and right. Because without them, as previously stated, nothing's going to go well. And if it does, it'll only be short-lived. So you've got to learn to take care of those around you.
So Matt, if we got all your lieutenants from the 407th and got them in one room and said, what was Colonel Bresko saying? What was that one thing he always talked about? What would that be?
Yeah, pretty easy, and I think it would be pretty unanimous, is that I would ask, hey, what's the impact? So very few things go according to plan in our business. We work very hard to plan thoroughly, but those rarely survive first contact, as
right.
You know. So again, junior leaders being out there with soldiers doing what they do, they're the first ones to come across a problem. So that, rightly so, they report it. They're the first ones to identify a problem. My expectation of my junior leaders, lieutenants specifically, is to help us understand what the impacts are. So It's easy to come up and tell the boss there's a problem, which is good. But what does that mean? If you have an event that happens in the motor pool or out on a mission or on a drop zone, good. Identify it, report it. But then you've got to be thinking through what does that mean to the unit? Is that going to force me to miss SP? Is that going to force us to fail at a mission? Is that going to force us to have the manpower required to execute something? Whatever that may be, there's going to be an impact to everything that happens, or an effect based on an event, and we've got to understand what that is. So as junior leaders, we need to be thinking through that, and that's what will separate the good from the great, and especially for lieutenants wanting to be company commanders, that's kind of my expectation.
Those lieutenants that can understand the second and third order effects and take action on those, not just report to the commander, is definitely key.
Absolutely.
And that's in any branch. But I do want to finish up and talk specifically about logistics lieutenants. What are you looking for from your logistics lieutenants?
Again, in very, very similar. On the logistics side, we have our own specific technical competencies. You're not going to come from the schoolhouse fully equipped, and I recognize that. But again, learning as much as you can about as much as you can down in the formation with your platoon or with your organization, learning as much about those technical competencies as you can, but balancing that with learning your role as a leader. Getting out there, knowing your people, caring for your people, making decisions, making acceptable mistakes and learning from them, and then growing every single day. And that's my expectation.
All right, all you logistics lieutenants, you heard it here. I didn't mention at the beginning, but Matt is taking 10th Sustainment Brigade up at Fort Drum. So congratulations on that, and I hope all the logistics lieutenants out there were listening, and all the cadets were listening about those expectations. So thanks for your service. Thanks for being on today. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, since 1989. So we wish you all the best as you take command, Matt, and thanks for being on Lopez on Leadership.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.